I could have played the audio through for that Twin Peaks trailer, but it just would have been over and over again.
I haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
I've never been into Twin Peaks.
You're not alone.
I'm just not into it. I want to watch the second episode of American Gods, but I need to do it while Ellie's not asleep or not awake, running around because it's gory and stuff.
Yeah, I get that. Especially the first scene of the first episode.
Yeah. Like, it was pretty. I mean, I almost felt it was almost borderline gratuitous.
Wait, sorry, what was this?
The violence in American Gods.
Yeah, I still ain't seen it. I got stars so I could watch it, but I still ain't seen it.
You bought stars and haven't watched it. That's great.
I bought it. I got it, and I'll watch it eventually.
I'll watch it when I wanna.
To be honest, like, everybody was super hyped for it, and I got it. And I thought we were going to talk about it on, like, Hotline.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody hated it. I'm like, well,
oh, I loved it.
You love it?
Yeah. Well, love may be a strong word.
I don't love it.
I liked it quite a bit.
I like it.
I
just felt that I mean, I only saw the first episode, so I expressed my opinions to Tom, and really the only thing that kind of that I could wrong it for was the fact that a lot of the acting is just kind of middle of the road. There's some really good actors, but for a majority of it's just kind of middling acting.
I disagree.
Okay.
I know. I have not noticed that. Although we did talk about Shadow, and I don't think Shadow has the same level of desperation that he does in this.
I'm just really, really, really excited to, when we were talking about this on Hotline Monday, to find out that Ian McShane lives in your neck of the woods, Tom, of Venice Beach.
Oh, I was like, yes, Los Angeles. So does every other. But he's like over here.
You could run in.
Yeah, could go down to the corner store and be like,
go to
Mr.
a bar
Wednesday
and see if you find him.
When Brian and I were at that that Mexican dance hall down the road from you,
right?
Could have run into a burning the late night oil Ian McShane.
Yeah. Well, someone just rang the doorbell upstairs, which is always good times.
All right.
So the dogs are going to bark until they go away. One time somebody did that, and it was a Time Warner cable salesperson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They came down and knocked on the bottom door because they heard me down here. And I had to get up in the middle of the show and go over and tell them, no, thank you. All right. I think we're good, though. We're not even late.
Hell no. Oh, shit. Wait, hold on. Poop.
You ready? You good?
Yeah. Let's go.
All righty then. Daily Tech News Show is powered by you. To find out more, head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support. This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, May 11th, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt, and we are here to help you understand the avalanche of tech news, hot password advice, hot Windows news, and a cool Justin Robert Young here to help.
Oh, man, I'm the sour cream to even out the flavor profile of this tech news enchilada.
That is right. You are a refreshing dose of dairy to take the burn away. It's always how I've thought of you.
Let's not get carried away. I do live in a vegan household.
No, we are going to talk about. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's a soy-based sour cream. We are going to talk about all the Microsoft Build announcements. Microsoft Build a little weird in that the more consumer-related announcements come on day 2 this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's I mean, I'm trying to think day-wise. Like, I guess Thursday might be a slightly better news day than Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's it or if they're just shaking things up.
I mean,
but, You got theory?
Well, no, I think that maybe it makes sense. I think we would agree that it's better to segregate the retail stuff from the developer stuff.
Sure. You hit the developer enterprisey stuff on day one. Get the fans excited. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the retail stuff. I mean, it should be separate.
Yeah. And this isn't just retail, obviously.
No.
This is still very developer oriented, but it's the stuff consumers will also care about. Let's start with a few tech things you should know. Microsoft announced the next update to Windows 10 will be called the Fall Creators Update. That won't be confusing. Already I won't embarrass the writer. I caught a news outlet writing Creators Update instead of Fall Creators Update by accident. Didn't give a date for the release, but I would assume it will be in the fall, Justin.
Yeah, I was going to say, the natural punchline is the Fall Creators Update comes out March 1st. Twitter signed a multi-year deal with the National Football League to live stream pregame coverage and a 30-minute daily football news and analysis program. Tom, do we need more pregame from Twitter?
I don't think so, but are you ready for some bidding on NFL rights when they become available again? Maybe. Advocate General Maciej Spunar advised the European Court of Justice that Uber is a transport company and must obtain authorization to operate in Europe. Spunar said Uber does, quote, much more than link supply and demand. It created this demand itself. Now, the court doesn't have to do what the Advocate General says, but they most often do.
Well, in my country, there is a problem, and that problem is transport.
Now, here are some more top stories. Verizon officially outbid AT&T to acquire Straight Path Communications for $3.1 billion. Those of you who've been following the drama of 5G spectrum acquisition will be very excited about this revelation. Straight Path, if you recall, owns about 95% of the 39 gigahertz spectrum in the U.S. That's significant because to make good use of the 39 gigahertz spectrum, you have to own most of it. So Straight Path was a big prize here. They also own a significant amount of the 28 gigahertz spectrum in big markets like San Francisco and New York. Anyway, if you want to roll out 5G, this is a feather in your cap. AT&T had agreed to buy Straight Path on April 10th, but was outbid the next day by an multinational telecommunications company who apparently was Verizon. AT&T had 5 days to respond to that initial offer, and we didn't hear anything for a month. So kind of implies there might have been a bidding war here.
Yeah, again, 1 month between when AT&T had made the purchase, other people had 5 days to match, Verizon matches, and we, I guess at that point, it just goes internally. But
AT&T had 5 days to match. They must have matched because we didn't hear about it 5 days later, right?
Certainly so. So now, I mean, unless there's maybe other due diligence.
There's other paperwork involved. That's true.
But still, this is Verizon saying, despite the fact that they are being attacked, certainly in the public, by companies like Sprint and T-Mobile and AT&T, that networks are equal now. So consumers should pay attention to things like price and flexibility and the freedom to do what you want with your minutes and stuff like that. They want to continue to hold their high ground that we have the best network. And if you know anything about mobile networking, the assurances that will continue to be true are 5 years delayed, right? Yeah. You buy this spectrum now so it can be in use years and years from now when the technology catches up with it.
And hopefully scores you some points on the reliability and service provision, service reliability, service quality scale. So good thing for Verizon. And Stoic Squirrel in our chat room asks a very pertinent question. Why did Straight Path own this spectrum? Were they using it? As a matter of fact, no. Straight Path got fined a couple. I don't remember the exact amount. They got fined a lot for not using the spectrum that they had bought, and the fine gets reduced to a few million if they sell the company or the spectrum to somebody who will use it. So Straight Path was motivated to sell because they wanted to get out of that fine, and they still got themselves into a bidding war.
Lighthouse, Tom, a company from Android co-founder Andy Rubin's accelerator, announced an indoor 1080p smart camera with night vision. Lighthouse uses deep learning and 3D sensing to determine who is in the house and whether it is normal, and alert by app if it thinks something is amiss. It can also determine if the dog has been walked and alert parents when kids are home. The app has voice recognition, and you can ask it questions. Pre-orders today start at $399 with a year of service, $499 for 3 years, and $599 if you want to go all in with this product that has literally 0 reviews for 5 years of service.
If you believe this startup can last for 5 years, you
shipping
can
in this in September this year. We had a bit of a back and forth on this in our little pre-show that we do on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. That I almost think that this really isn't a story. It's a product that nobody knows whether it's good or not. Certainly it is promising fantastical things. And the idea that you have to build in service for it is new in that space. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. It is a product we don't know anything about, that while Andy Rubin has expressed faith in it, Andy Rubin isn't running the company. It just comes out of his accelerator.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will...
By the way, is the same time that when you ever see a random movie that just says, from the people that brought you another more...
I have a feeling that Rubin takes a little more active hand than, say, Ehrlich Bachman from Silicon Valley in his accelerator. But yeah, I get your point.
But yes, it's also to be if Jerry Bruckheimer is a producer on your movie, then you're gonna say from the people that brought you.
Yeah. Now that said, it's a shipping product. Like a lot of times you hear these as demos at CES or an NDA that was released. This is a product you can pre-order today. You can put your money down. It's going to ship in September. And if it turns out to do what they say it's going to do, I think it's a significant step in this, practical use of machine learning and AI, because this has got elements of your voice assistant, of your smart speaker, but it's in a camera. And that's pretty cool. If I can talk to my app and say, hey, let me know when my husband gets home, and the camera knows who my husband is, can recognize that, and when he walks in the door, it sends me an alert, say, hey, your husband's home, then that's pretty impressive and pretty useful, and differentiates it from, say, Nest or others that do some computer vision and recognition on a very simple level.
Yes. Now, I do want to add one caveat. It is a product with a ship date. It is not a shipping product.
Fair enough.
Right? So there is that. The idea that a new product could be delayed to ensure that all the bugs are worked out of it would not.
It certainly wouldn't be the first product ever to take people's money and not ship on time.
Exactly.
But all that, the fact that has happened, most people don't take your money until they're pretty sure they're going to ship.
No. And I think this will come out, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not this will become, on the grand scheme of from Echo to Juicero, we don't know exactly where it's going.
I think it's definitely closer to Echo. I don't think it's on the Juicero side, because this is real tech. Where it could diverge from Echo is if it just doesn't work as promised, and it ends up being like, well, yeah, it can tell who people are some of the time. It's really not that much more sophisticated than what Nest does. Then it starts to disappoint. So,
but that is the issue, right?
Yeah.
When you look at what broke Echo through, it was that whenever you said something, 90% of the time, it recognized what you said and it spit back a reliable answer. And that was the problem with video stuff before, or sorry, voice activated stuff before. This is uncharted ground. We will see how well they do.
Ian in our chat room, whom I love, does not disappoint in chat room pedantry when he says, but Juicero works as promised.
That's a fair point.
It's a fair point. All right. We talked about the Snap earnings yesterday, losing money at a greater rate than people expected. 5% growth in active users, not as fast as they have been. What we didn't have yesterday was the earnings call. And yesterday, Evan Spiegel spent a lot of time emphasizing over and over that they don't care about getting the most users. They don't want to just do things to attract users by sending notifications and tricking people into spending all their time on their app. They want quality users over quantity. They think that they can better serve advertisers who pay money to reach them if they have quality users. And he also said he's not worried about Facebook and Instagram copying them, saying pretty much that, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
two things out of that we can pick through. And one of them, I believe, is a direct reaction to some of the unfavorable comparisons that people were making between Snapchat and Twitter, as sort of, Twitter being sort of this cautionary tale of a once red hot company that has kind of been wayward in the eyes of investors. Snapchat specifically, in saying quality over quantity, quality over quantity, is saying we don't want to make the same mistake as Twitter about chasing raw numbers that devalues our product and then forces us to make embarrassing deletions of gigantic fields of fake Twitter accounts or inactive Twitter accounts that then puts a larger, harsher light on whatever growth that we have. We want to make clear from the beginning that this is we're not going to have that problem.
Yeah. I, on the one hand, absolutely agree with Evan Spiegel. You should be going after quality users. You shouldn't use what he calls growth hacks, because it ends up causing more problems in the long run than it solves. And he said the way to try to help people understand how we think about daily active user growth is really through the lens of creativity and creation. They want people to create good things on the platform, and that's how they judge whether they've got good users. However, he said through the lens of creativity and creation, and then immediately pivoted into talking about lenses and said people enjoy looking like a puppy and things like that.
I'm going to ignore that and move on to his statement that he is not afraid of Facebook and Instagram. Tom, the Grand Jedi Master Yoda, once told Luke Skywalker, "You will be." Is this a little foolhardy by Spiegel?
Here's the thing. He says if you want to be a creative company, you got to get comfortable with and basically enjoy the fact that people are going to copy your products if you make great stuff. That is a fine thing to say if you keep making great stuff. If everyone's saying, well, yeah, Instagram copied Snapchat, but look what Snapchat's got now. And they just released a bunch of new features yesterday that allow you to, like the magic eraser, where you can erase something from your Snap and it just automatically fills in the background. Evan Spiegel is banking on those kinds of features being popular and seen as new things that nobody else copies, and that Snapchat will continue to be ahead of the curve. That's a tough game to win. You have to continually be inventive, and not only be inventive, but actually be inventive in a way that people appreciate and use. And so there is the challenge. And I think a lot of us are looking at Snapchat lately saying, okay, you've got new features, but I'm starting to wonder why I use you.
Yeah. All I know is that when you actually listen, if you listen very, very closely to him saying that, that he's not afraid of Instagram and Facebook, if you listen very, very closely, you can hear a slight rattling, which is the chains of the ghost of Vine, just shaking its fists to heed the warning of what happened.
6 seconds. That's why now you can watch an image for as long as you want. You can have forever images.
Court in Ekaterinburg, Russia, gave us a suspended 3.5-year jail sentence and 160 hours of community service to blogger Ruslan Sokolsky for inciting.
Oh, you did it so much better earlier today. Sokolsky
posted a video on YouTube of himself playing Pokemon Go in a Russian Orthodox church while using strong language and mocking Christianity. After the sentencing, Sokolsky said, quote, "I'm content. I won't play Pokemon. It's already out of fashion," end quote. Tom, what's the bigger story here? The chilling effect on free speech, or the fact that this kid doesn't want to play Pokemon no more?
Yeah, I think this is why this is burning up the charts on places like our subreddit, is that quote. I mean, the idea that someone got fined for playing Pokemon in a church is capturing people's imaginations. Sad fact is that's not what happened. He got fined and a suspended prison sentence for saying things that were controversial about religion in Russia. And Russia has very strict laws about it these days. Yeah. So it didn't have to do with that. However, his sort of, Pokemon's already out of fashion comment is amusing.
Yeah. you know, this is one of those stories where it's definitely super funny to read, and despite the fact that it is kind of chilling if you read it in a certain way, it is just kind of funny, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you leave out the serious part, the whole Pokemon part is pretty funny. The U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology has issued new draft guidelines on password requirements. NIST says users should be able to pick whatever password they want. So no requirements for special characters, no capital letters, no, you have to pick, an exclamation point or a hashtag, or no, none of that. Pick whatever you want. However, the following password should be disallowed by the company you're creating the account with. So if it's a known password from a previous breach, kick it out. If it's a dictionary word, kick it out. If it's a repetitive or sequential character, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, kick it out. If it's a context-specific word, like it's the name of the service or it's the person's actual username, kick it out. NIST also recommends not requiring users to change passwords frequently. They say that just leads to people trying to use insecure passwords. So let them pick one, let them keep it long, keep it forever, and you enforce the things that are going to make it crackable. The idea being like, yes, of course, if you put an exclamation point and a percentage sign and a bunch of random words together, that is a stronger password. But forcing people to do that who aren't motivated to do that causes them to do things like put the exclamation point in place of the letter I. And that is an eminently crackable pattern of behavior. So what they're saying is, if somebody wants to make long, random, secure passwords or use a password manager, great. But if you're making people do something, make them pick a password that isn't in a dictionary or in a database breach or very obviously going to be crackable.
This is brilliant and amazing and awesome. And until somebody smarter than me about technology and security tells me otherwise, I will continue to say so out loud. I love the idea that for the first time, like, this just feels like common sense. Like, we live in a world where you are able to search for your breached passwords. Why is there not a publicly, an available database to say, yeah, you use that password that's already out on the internet, so we're not going to allow you to use that here because we're just exposing our service in the same way that you've already exposed yourself on other places. Or the idea of, like, I think I have more often switched to insecure passwords because I've either had overly restrictive guidelines to make a password, and so I just wind up making one up, or I make one up and I can't remember it and I wind up switching it to the most least secure version of that I possibly can. Like, just because it's easier to remember it. And yes, I should have one password. And yes, I should have all these other things. I don't at me. But I think this makes so much more sense to just raise the baseline.
Yeah. And granted, you can poke a lot of holes in this because you are telling people your guidelines don't make every password the most secure that it could be. Right? You want a 20-character long random password with special characters if you want the most secure password. We all know that. And we talked to Bart Buchatz about that last week. But if you're saying, what should we force people to do? Well, right now they do like 8-character password forcing and one special character that they just put in place. That's not making more secure passwords. I think these guidelines will actually make more secure passwords, because one of the other things they're encouraging is encourage your users to use phrases like "take the bunny out to the fairgrounds in March" is a hard to crack password because it's long, and it's, even though it's got dictionary words in it, the dictionary words strung together are not in an order that is easily found. So you can get them to do even memorable passwords that are at least more secure than, password with a 4 instead of the A or something stupid like that.
The greatest, the reason why I love listening to people like Shannon Morse and Darren Kitchen at Hack 5 is because they both have such an amazing grasp on the fact that security is only as good as human nature.
Yeah.
And the reason why social engineering works is because you understand human nature. It's a lot like magic.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you ask people to create a 20-character password that has 4 special characters. Because if my uncle was a woman, she'd be my aunt, right? Like, this brings us closer to, hey, do the best you can in a way that you can remember your passwords for these different services, and let's just avoid the worst as opposed to forcing them and letting them fail at doing the best.
And don't forget, folks, these are the guidelines they're asking websites and services to put in place. These aren't the guidelines they're telling people. The guidelines you're telling people are still like, use a password manager and make it totally random. You know, use long passwords with random characters and things like that. So that guideline hasn't changed. This is how do you enforce it on the website end, and I think this is pretty good. If you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. Go do it right now. It'll change your ability to be up on technology. You can not only get it as a podcast, but on the Amazon Echo and in the Anchor app at anchor.fm. We are not done, however, because, as we mentioned, Fall Creators Update, Windows 10, coming presumably in the fall. And we've got a bunch of other Microsoft Build announcements. So I'm going to run through these and get Justin's reaction as a consumer to these announcements. Are you ready, Justin? Are you sitting comfortably?
I'm ready to consume.
Microsoft announced a UI refresh for Windows 10 as well, previously called Project Neon. The official public name is the Microsoft Fluent Design System. It's intended to be a successor to the Microsoft Metro design, will apply across not only Windows, but iOS and Android apps as well. Most of the changes include subtle things like blur effects. People are already comparing it to Windows Vista. And Microsoft says it is focusing on light, depth, motion, material, and scale. Along with this, they did a demo of a new inking feature showing the ability to annotate anywhere in Windows.
You know, Windows has continued to look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I think that they are continuing to march down that path, and that is good for me.
Yeah, and I don't know. So far, it looks pretty. I want to see it in full-on action. But the idea is to make things look like they're moving. As long as that's the only way it's like Windows Vista, I'm fine with it. Microsoft is expanding its Graph service that lets developers get data out of apps and cloud services. Microsoft adding devices and third-party apps to the Graph. Previously, it was users and documents, so it really worked for file sharing mostly. But now it's working more like handoff. One effect could be users having the ability to start a task, say on an Android phone. You're doing a spreadsheet on your Android phone, and finish it on the laptop's version. But it doesn't even have to be a Microsoft app. It could be some other kind of app that's just using the Graph to hand off to Windows. There's also a cloud-based clipboard that will launch with the Fall Creators Update. That will integrate with Microsoft-owned SwiftKey and allow you to cut and paste across devices. So you can cut some text on Windows and then paste it on your iPhone as long as you're using SwiftKey. Pretty much any device that uses Cortana becomes part of the Graph as well. Cortana can do things like if you're using, let's say you're using an app to do a checklist, a to-do list on your Windows machine, and you turn on your iPhone and you've got Cortana on your iPhone, Cortana can say, hey, there's an iOS version of that to-do list. Would you like to install it? And it can direct you to the App Store to do it.
This is very exciting to me because it begins, I think, a very, or rather it doesn't begin. It continues a very meaningful transition of Microsoft to a company that doesn't feel that if they don't own the entire playpen, they don't want to play in it. That their answer to other services is to build better services and make it the reason why you want to stay in the Windows ecosystem. This is a more open Microsoft. This is a Microsoft that I believe is just more in tune with reality, frankly, that like me and you, Tom, we own both. We own PC. We own iOS devices. We own Android devices. The more that they can all talk to each other, the better our life is. And that is a good ray of sunshine.
Another Graph element is Windows Timeline that shows you everything you did on your device, and it gives you a chance to jump back. So it's not like restore a point necessarily, but it's like, oh, I was working on this file 2 days ago. What was it? Where is it? You can just go look in Timeline, find it, and jump right back in where you were. So that's another one of these graph elements. It's kind of cool. There's a new video and slideshow creation app coming called Windows Story Remix. That's coming in the Fall Creators Update as well. It can automatically mix your media into a shareable clip or let you do it yourself. Now, this sounds familiar. We've had a lot of apps promise to do this, but this one's got some pretty impressive machine learning in it that helps create montages. Choices you make on videos and remixes help the AI learn what style you like. You can also search for people and things. Like you could say, show me all my dog videos, show me all my cat videos, show me all my Uncle Harold videos. It will eventually be able to integrate 3D objects into videos for special effects. So one of the examples they showed was a kid in a Halloween costume casting a spell on an empty driveway, and they put a 3D effect of a dinosaur that like raised up its wings to attack, and the kid cast the spell and the dinosaur disappeared. Capture apps that work with Story Remix will be available for iOS, Android, and Windows Phone. Those will just be able to capture stuff that you then use on Windows to create these these little video montages.
You know, you mentioned before that there's so many of these kinds of apps and they all sort of do the same thing, but they, to their credit, kind of incrementally move this forward. I don't exactly have a ton of use for it, but I am fully preparing myself that one day there's just going to be a button I can press that makes a full feature-length Quentin Tarantino-esque movie with all of my meat that plays perfectly. So, good, another step down the pathway.
Because you are not one of Eileen's uncles making a video for Tita Dolly's birthday. You don't need this, but this is going to be useful in a lot of families.
Or other very popular Twitter accounts that need to put together various video clips.
Also coming in the fall update is OneDrive Files on Demand that can take data from the cloud version of OneDrive as needed, so that you can see all your OneDrive files, but they all don't have to be taking up space on your local drive. There'll be status icons in File Explorer to tell you which files are available locally, which ones are in the cloud, and recently opened files will remain available offline, so it'll automatically manage that.
Nice. Do you use OneDrive?
I do. I kind of use it as cold storage, though. I don't use it actively except for some of my writing.
Yeah. Just because it's easier to put it there because you're writing on a PC?
Yeah, because a lot of times I'm writing on my Surface Pro or my Surface Book, and so I want to make sure I have the Word documents easily available.
I think that is an interesting thing that kind of happens now, is that we're not in a world anymore where it's like, well, I just use blank because blank is the easiest and it's the best. Everybody kind of uses a lot of different places for online storage, and ultimately you just want to make sure that your port is as clean and reliable as it possibly can be.
Microsoft showed off motion controllers for devices that use Microsoft's mixed reality software. The controllers work with sensors in the headset, so you don't need external sensors. They have a thumbstick, a touchpad, and a wand-like design with a tracking ring on the end. So they're a little bit Vive, a little bit Oculus Rift. They'll be sold alongside the variety of Microsoft mixed reality headsets coming out. This holiday, Acer will bundle a controller with a headset for $399. The controllers, however, will not work with the HoloLens. These are just with the third-party Microsoft mixed reality headsets. And we got the first two are available for pre-order. Acer's $299 mixed reality headset dev kit and HP's $329 headset dev kit up for pre-order today, shipping this summer from the Microsoft store. That Acer one is the same headset that will be bundled with the controller, but the controller won't be coming out till the holiday season.
Do you look at this as an ominous portent for HoloLens?
No, I don't. HoloLens development hardware arriving in China by the end of the month. So they are still serious about HoloLens. I think they're trying to be very patient and wait for that killer app for HoloLens. This is Microsoft saying, we've got VR stuff. Let's work with our partners to be out there with competitive offerings that are cheaper than the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
And at the same time, hold our powder dry for HoloLens, which we think is going to be amazing.
So they're just saying, hey, look, our partners want to do this.
Yeah.
We're going to give them a thing. Enjoy it. Although that doesn't exactly give the most tremendous vote of confidence for these products that are being pre-ordered right now. Yeah,
and as much as Microsoft calls it mixed reality, they're just VR headsets. This is just Microsoft's play to compete, with VR. The Xamarin Live Player lets you develop iOS apps on Windows without a Mac. You just need the Live Player app for iOS. There's also a Live Player app for Android. So it's super easy. All you need is the device and your Windows machine. You don't need to have another development environment. You don't need Xcode anymore to develop iOS. You can do it right on Windows.
This is another one of those opening up the gates.
Yep.
Opening up the restrictions. One might say that Sacha Mania is still running wild.
Well, let me feed that fire. Microsoft has a version of Ubuntu available in the Windows App Store right now, and it's adding Fedora and SUSE soon so that you Linux heads can run your Linux apps right there on Windows. Easy. I mean, you could do this before in, some kind of emulator, but now you just buy it. You just get it out of the App Store. You don't even buy it. It's free.
What you gonna do, developers, when Ubuntu runs wild on you?
One more thing. A version of iTunes is coming to the Windows Store. Wrap your head around that. This is the iTunes. There is iTunes for Windows already. It's a Win32 app. A version of iTunes is coming to the Windows Store. That means it'll work on Windows 10S as well as Windows 10. That means it's a universal app. That means Apple had to do a little bit of work. Maybe they just took the Win32 app and rewrapped it, but they had to do a little bit of work and felt it was worth it to put it in the store.
Well, I hope it runs better than the version that we have now, which is, I think, almost universally understood to be just a bloated mess on PC.
Yeah. Best of luck to that. Thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. It definitely helps us figure out what to put in the show each day. Message of the day comes from Adam. Said he was listening to our episode about the Amazon Echo, and he said, look, $50 price point makes it easy to justify an Echo, even if you just use it for a few functions. I just bought another one for the bathroom because I want to be able to get the time, weather, news, and music without needing to touch anything. At first, I thought the idea of a 5-pack was ridiculous. Now I'm thinking it's a great idea if you have a big house.
The NSA certainly thinks so. Waka, waka, waka. I agree, though. I think that this is a defining device of its age. I would put the Echo in the same conversation as the iPod or the iPhone in terms of as soon as it came out, it just kind of revolutionized what that space should be, and everything that followed was iterating on this large leap forward.
Define the category, yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Patrick was saying a lot of things about phone smart assistants that he doesn't like, and he doesn't understand why he would like them anymore in a smart speaker. And I was talking about how I kind of agree with him on phone assistants, but I love my Amazon Echo. So I wrote up for our Patreon today 5 reasons why I think a smart speaker is better than an assistant on your phone. And if you back us at the $5 a month level, you got that right now. It's in your inbox or at patreon.com/DTNS. Thank you, Justin Robert Young, for joining us. As always, what you got going on?
Well, folks, you can go ahead and follow me over there on twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. Every Thursday, Tom and I chop up the top stories to build this very podcast for you. It's kind of like watching a sandwich artist behind the glass before you are served this fine hoagie. And also, let me shout something out. I know that a fellow Daily Tech News Show co-host Scott Johnson hosts a show called The Morning Stream. There was somebody in the Frog Pants community that I know so many people listen to this show. Carrie Cleo is who many might know her as. She recently lost her 15-year-old daughter. They are doing a benefit for her on the Morning Stream PM edition today. I encourage everybody to listen to it and to donate. I know there's a couple contender packs that we're putting up there. Really, any reason that you could have to go throw some support to Carrie and her family in this time of need is something that is well worth it. She is an exceptional human being, and everything that she went through with her daughter was inspiring and heartbreaking simultaneously. So go ahead and check that out. The Morning Stream PM edition today. I think they're doing their fundraiser. And there we go. Sorry, GoFundMe.com/EdenFund if you just want to go ahead and donate directly. That is GoFundMe.com/EdenFund.
So heartbreaking. Well, thanks to everybody who supports this show, including Susie Morell, Michael Allen, David Grizzly Smith, and many more. We appreciate your contributions to keep us going at patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And we're at facebook.com/dailytechnewsshow. Just posted a little behind-the-scenes video today there. And, of course, our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Patrick Norton. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I'm going to put that link in the show notes, too. You guys still there?
Yo.
All right. Well, Roger's probably restarting. What do we got over there at the...
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry about Spaced on Len. I saw his email, and I totally remember it. I think it's because I'm so scared of leaving him out. I was like, right. He's probably... Titles.
Yes, titles. What do we got?
A few tech things you should know. Carry on my wayward IPO. Snapchat becoming so meaningless, Nietzsche would love it. I don't think that's what Nietzsche was all about. In any case, human nature is the worst password. Do we need more pregame?
Are you ready for some football?
Are you ready for some positioning for future negotiations?
No snaps in a Z formation. I'm missing that one. What am I missing in that one? What don't I get? And there's no snaps in a Z formation.
I think that's like a football reference.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That means I don't care. Chains of the Ghost Divine. Show me all my Uncle Harold videos. Microsoft is a little bit Vivey and a little bit Occultist Rift. Apple begins selling ice water in Windows Store. Snapchat is snapping their legs. Satchamania is still running wild. Leet passwords. One sizzling episode with cool news. Pokemon Go is out of fashion in Russia. NIST gives a pass on password rules. Snap applies a positive filter to their financials. I like that one.
A lens, positive lens.
But human nature is the worst password is at the top, followed closely by carried on my wayward IPO. Carry on my IPO.
What do you guys like?
I like human nature is the worst password.
All right. I'll do that.
Let's do it.
Just set up a system where you can put in more than 12 characters as a password. I guarantee you would solve a lot of these passwords.
But not everybody would put in more than 12 letters.
Make it like a Mad Lib.
Mandate 12, right?
Huh? You could mandate more than 12. Like, for example, some sites will not accept less than 8, a minimum of 8 characters.
Yeah.
Sure, but I guess my point is that mandating 12 creates poopier passwords.
The thing is, the longer a password is, the more secure it is. Right? It doesn't matter what character you use. If you even just stuck with 26 letters of the alphabet, but you made it so your password could be a complete sentence, it would be secure.
Now, what if you're using dictionary words? Like, can't somebody throw a dictionary? I guess
it could, but it would have to go through more permutations.
So the theory is, I saw Biocast saying this, like, isn't 6 dictionary words just the same as 6 letters? And the answer is no, because there are more than 26 words in existence.
and you would have to run through a permutation of them, right? They're not always going to be in. I hope they're not all in the same order. It's the length, right? You could use every character set known to Unicode, but only have like a 5-character password. You would be able to find it,
right?
To brute force it. I mean, the truth of the matter, most passwords aren't found by brute force; they're found through phishing.
Yeah,
totally.
So pull in that rod and reel and go to Long John Silver's where we do the fishing for you.
Ahoy, mateys!
I guess, at one point in time, that place used to be mid-level restaurant. Now it's just kind of some people still say it is.
What is?
Long John Silver's.
Oh.
I have a weird habit of watching old restaurant commercials from the 80s and 70s, specifically steak restaurants.
Really? Which ones?
The Steakhouse. There was not like Sizzler, but there was like what's the see, I watch all these. I don't even remember their names. It's really bad. It shows you how poor.
Like the Ground Round.
There was one called not the Steakhouse. 1970. Let's see. Ponderosa. That one. That was the one.
Oh yeah, I love the Ponderosa.
I remember something. I remember going to one, and I was wondering why all the waitresses were wearing tablecloths for shirts, because it had that same pattern. Because I was a kid, that's what I assumed. Steak and Ale.
Oh, Steak and Ale's the bomb.
Bonanza.
Dun, 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 dun. Where's my steak? Well, I'd like a filet, but we don't do that. The what?
Oh, it's a soon-to-be revived chain.
Bonanza?
Steak and Ale's coming back, baby.
Steak and Ale's coming back, huh?
Wait, are they taking the place of Cask and Cleaver?
The planned revival in 2013, a Facebook page was created for the comeback of Steak and Ale, and Bennigan's CEO Paul Miagami announced that the change was part of Bennigan's comeback concept. In February 11th, 2015, Miagami and his wife Gwen closed on a management buyout of the company from its parent private equity firm for an undisclosed price. The new company, Legendary Restaurant Brands LLC, is now 100% owner of the Bennigan's restaurant chain, its fast casual concept Bennigan's on the Fly, and Steak and Ale.
Steak and Ale. Okay, so this is not related to Steak and Ale, and I hesitate to distract you from what is proving to be a very fruitful discussion of legacy restaurants. But I gave you the Russian thing because you nailed it when we were on Twitch.
I choked on it, man. What am I going to say, dude?
I should have set you up better then. I apologize.
No. I was bragging about how good I am at pronouncing.
You did Sokolovsky perfectly the first time and every time.
I don't know. Whatever. For whatever reason, I looked at it and I choked.
All right. I'm sorry to bring that up, but I just didn't want you to think that I gave you that out of maliciousness.
No, because we were joking about it. Of course not. No, it's only the really weird Asian ones. The really weird Asian and Indian ones are the ones that I'm just like, oh, come on.
But yeah, so legendary restaurants. Do they have any other legendary properties that they can revive?
No, so that apparently is a new.
Okay.
A new LLC, but even then, what I'm going to guess. Well, here let's get into the Steak and Ale. Steak and Ale was founded as an independent restaurant chain in Dallas on February 26, 1966. On January 29, 2008, the chain's remaining 58 locations closed as part of a Chapter 7 bankruptcy proceeding.
Chapter 7. Wow.
In 2014, the CEO of Bennigan's announced their intended comeback, but that was later pushed to early 2017.
Like, can we see Stucky's come back?
Yeah, I don't know. Popular menu items at Steak and Ale included the signature herb roasted prime rib, the Kensington Club, the New York strip, the filet mignon, the Hawaiian chicken, and spicy grilled chicken pasta. The restaurant featured unlimited salad bar or a choice of soup with most of its entrees on the dinner menu. It also featured free drink refills and honey wheat bread, formerly known as squaw bread, before a group of Native Americans threatened to protest and sue over the offensive use of the word squaw.
Yeah.
Steak and Ale also offered a lunch menu with many items under $6.99 in the mid-90s. In an attempt to revitalize lagging sales, the early evening menu was introduced. In addition to lower prices, all the early evening fares included free beverages and free desserts. Some of the complimentary dessert selections were strawberry sundown cake, twilight triple fudge cake, and spice cake. The restaurant was also featured wine samples for only 25 cents.
Wait, so did they invent the early bird special, or is
I was going to ask. I was thinking along the same lines. Yeah. When you change your business model to hit the early bird special crowd, that means your audience is dying.
Yes. You know what? That's very depressing because that's my parents' problem. They're very popular amongst older people. Unfortunately, their clientele is slowly dropped off over the ensuing years.
When he says it's his parents' problem, people may not realize he means his parents own a restaurant, so it's their restaurant's problem.
Yeah, and it was very popular with the older crowd, including the early bird gets the discount.
I wonder if there's a way to manage the nostalgia cycle, and it actually sounds like that's what Bennigan's is trying to do here, so that you get the older people who like the thing because they've always liked it, and then the young people who like it because it's throwback, and merge those crowds. Is that impossible?
Yes.
Let me spit you some game here to the history.
All right.
Restaurant pioneer Norman Brinker founded Steak and Ale in 1966 in Dallas. The chain, with its dimly lit dining rooms, billed itself as offering an upscale steak experience at lower prices, and it was seen as a model for the casual dining steakhouse. And many executives there went on to run other large chains. It was so successful that it was purchased in 1976 when Pillsbury purchased it and folded it into a restaurant group with Burger King, Bennigan's, and other stores. At the time, the company had 113 locations of Steak and Ale, and Jolly Ox, the name that it used in markets that didn't allow references to liquor in the restaurant name. In 1982, Pillsbury spun the company off along with Bennigan's in the independent S&A restaurant group. And it went on late 80s at 280 locations before the fact that it got murdered by the fact that it created a genre. The idea of the steak experience, casual steakhouse, was invented by Steak and Ale, and then it just got subsumed by it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, before, when you went out for dinner at a place like that, you'd have to get dressed up, and I guess people were like, you know what, I'll put on a jacket and tie, but I'm not gonna, do the rest of it because it's a lot of effort to eat steak.
I kind of miss the old Red Lobsters.
I have never eaten at a Red Lobster.
Oh my God. I once dated a girl that loved Red Lobster, and she wanted to go there for birthdays and Valentine's Days and stuff like that.
Did you smell like drawn butter?
Well, it's the Cheddar Bay biscuits, man.
Well, see, the old Red Lobster in the 70s was very much like Steak and Ale. They had the dim lighting, and the fancy decor, candles on the tables, and you felt like you were at a really fancy restaurant, but it was lower prices. And now it's just become more of a, well-lit family restaurant.
Right.
There used to be a franchise McDonald's in Modesto that advertised like at 6:30. No, 7:30, they offered dinner by candlelight.
Oh, really?
And I was thinking, like, who are you attracting to a McDonald's for a candlelight dinner? I mean, I guess maybe. I don't know.
I mean, in high school, I went on some dates to McDonald's. Maybe that would have been appealing. I don't
They're
know.
they're letting people get married at the Taco Bell in Vegas. Like there's brand loyalty is a very interesting phenomenon. Some
Sure.
people like McDonald's means something more to them than it would to us.
It's kind of weird. I would have said I was brand loyal, but the problem is like a lot of those brands over time have shifted. In so much like their food, which they originally you attracted to them for, no longer exist. Or like for example, like the really cool Happy Meals you used to get like collector glasses, even though they're really cheap. Those things were like I used to love McDonald's, or was it Burger King? They did the Muppet ones.
Yeah.
And I used to I always loved Burger King because they had those glasses. A&W was the other one. A&W burger joints, because they had the fireplace with the chain link screen in front. It just seemed very classy for a fast food restaurant at the time.
All that stuff's hard to maintain, though.
It is, and that's why they don't do it. And generically, they all end up looking exactly the same.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a deep dive on Bennigan's, because apparently there are still close to 40 franchised Bennigan's still open.
Wow. That's more than I would have thought, because you never see them anymore.
Including one in Santa Clara.
Huh. Hey, for more on Bennigan's, patrons, check your full audio version at patreon.com/DTNS. Everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow.